Season 3 will go down as one of the most historic runs for this Houston Texans squad. We've capped it off. We finished the regular season 15-2 and just dominating through the playoffs, capping it off with a big win in Super Bowl 59 over the Rams, 45-20. Now, in today's video, we're going to look back at the season, what we accomplished, look at all the stats, look at the awards, all that fun stuff, and then we're going to get ready for the offseason. We're going to look at potential free agents, some moves that we need to make, and the players that we're targeting in the draft. Get your snacks ready, man. Let's hop in. So last year, we traded up in the draft and picked up Caleb Stanford from Stanford. And as you can see now, he has changed his number. He talked to management, and he wanted to drop the number 4 because of the negative connotation that it had with the team. So now you're looking at number 10. But Caleb was a big pickup for this team, and I feel like he took our team to a different level this year. He finished with 4,759 passing yards, 41 touchdowns. He did have a lot of interceptions, though, 26 interceptions. He's one of those gunslingers, man. He likes to force the ball down the field. The defense took advantage of that. 64% completion percentage. He averaged almost 280 yards per game. And honestly, I'm proud of this, man. Our sack totals went down big time. 27 sacks compared to last year, where I think we gave up almost 50 sacks. So Caleb, franchise quarterback for sure. I was just looking at some of his awards. He was actually named to the Pro Bowl this year, but of course, because we were in the Super Bowl, he wasn't going to get to play in the Pro Bowl, but he did get a Pro Bowl appearance, and he won Offensive Player of the Week during the Super Bowl, and I think a couple other times too. I thought he had a lot of games this year where he threw 6 touchdowns. Yeah, versus the Bills, he had 6 touchdowns. Versus the Jaguars, 4 touchdowns. 3 versus the Jets, 4 versus the Bengals. It was back-to-back games where he threw 4 against the Bills and the Colts. We did get off to a slow start versus the Jaguars. He had 2 touchdowns, 3 picks. But then he kind of got settled in, and I felt like he finally started clicking in Week 5 versus the Bills. We shut out the Colts. Just a dominating first season for him, man. I'm excited to see what Season 2 for Caleb Stanford holds. On the ground, Dameon Pierce, another 2,000-yard season. This is incredible, man. 433 carries for 2,418 yards, 25 touchdowns. For the past 3 seasons, this kid has just dominated the NFL. I felt like his rookie year, we finally got him going towards the end of the season. Well, he almost hit 1,000 yards. But then in his second year, he exploded on the scene with almost 3,000 yards rushing. He was our offense. Let's be real. He was our offense in his second year. And then this year, the yards are down, the touchdowns are down, the average games are down, but he was still such a dominating back. Now, as we get further into his career, he's going into Season 4 this next year. My plan is to not give him so many carries. I would love to see him somewhere in the 300 range. There's a running back that is on our roster that I feel like we have to start getting him some touches. But Dameon Pierce is a star. He's got superstar X factor. He's a monster, man. And again, if we would have if we didn't get to go to the Super Bowl, he was definitely going to the Pro Bowl, which would have been, his second one of his career. To think that this guy was a 4th-round pick is just insane. He led the league in rushing yards twice already. He's off to a great start in his career. The big problem for us going into next season, into the end of Season 4, he's going to want to get paid. His contract is up at the end of this upcoming season. And are we willing to pay him the big price tag that he's going to be looking for? We had Chase Edmonds on the team this year, 71 carries for 338 yards. 5 touchdowns. I do not think we'll bring back Chase next year because Julius Temple has kind of showed that he is the running back in waiting. He is going to be a solid number 2 back for us, I believe, going into next year. He's also from Florida, following right behind Dameon. And he's got better speed than Dameon. The acceleration, not there quite yet. But he showed flashes this year of what we can expect from him. I'm excited to see what his future holds. I'm not sure if he's a 3rd down back for us. I really haven't seen him catch. Yeah, he's got 64 catching, so I'm not too sure if he's going to be a third down back. But he could be a solid change of pace back for us, switching it up from Damian. Let's take a look at his season stats. He went over 100 yards in 2 quarters against the Bengals in Week 14. He also had a touchdown in the divisional round versus the Bengals. Only got, 6 games that he played in this year, and, none better than the Bengals game and against the Bengals. He played lights out in both games versus the Bengals. So I'm excited to see what he's going to do. I'm already saying now he's going to be running back number 2 on the depth chart behind Damian. We'll probably look to get a shiftier back, maybe for the return game. Maybe, somebody that can be a utility back. If we go 5 wide, we could split him out. He could play wide receiver for us. But I'm gonna get Julius some touches next year. I'm looking to get him somewhere between, 100 carries, 150 carries next year to take the load off of Dameon Pierce. Also, big shout out to Caleb Stanford. Had 4 rushing touchdowns in his rookie season. I think the group that improved the most this year out of everybody on this team had to be the wide receivers, man. We really have got a great group of wide receivers right now, led by Brandon Cooks. He had 94 catches for 1,145 yards and 12 touchdowns. Now, Brandon is getting up there in age. He'll be 32 at the beginning of the season, already in his 11th season on the team, and he is set to be a free agent this year, and he wants big money. Now, statistically, I think this was his best year in the NFL. Yeah, 94 catches was his most. 1,145 would make him third. That's the third best yards he's had in his career, and 12 touchdowns was the most he ever had. I just don't see paying him $60 million to be a starting wide receiver at 32. Now, do I still think he's a great player? Yes, I think he has a lot left in his tank. We're going to try to see what we can do. The franchise tag is going to be up there in price too. But the one thing I do like about Brandon being on the team, he gets that mentor tag, which helps out our young wide receivers. For instance, Trey Graham, second on the team and catches 82 grabs for 1,088 yards and 9 touchdowns. We drafted Trey, I believe it was the third round. It was the third round. He was a third round pick. He was the 2024 Offensive Rookie of the Year. We put him at wide receiver 3, and he shined, man. And this kid is going to be something special. He got star development now, 94 speed. The acceleration really isn't there, but he showed flashes, man. I remember one play, he took a drag route, caught a block, and hit the sideline and was gone. He's got great hands. His route running is there. Honestly, I feel like he could move into our wide receiver number 2 spot if we cannot work out a deal with Brandon Cooks. But I think wide receiver number 1 has to be T. Higgins, 58 grabs, 849 yards, 6 touchdowns. We picked him up in free agency last season, and I think he was a great pickup for us. He doesn't reach that 1,000-yard mark, which was kind of disappointing. I was really trying to get him there. He only has 1,000-yard season under his belt, and that was back in 2021. But he is a solid player for us, man. If we need a big play, if we need a red zone touchdown, the big body receiver, go to him, man. 6'4", 216. He was boxing out corners. He was jumping over corners. There was one play, I remember I think it was against the Colts. He made a one-handed grab over a corner. I mean, T is a big guy, and I'm expecting big things out of him going into season 4. Again, if Brandon Cooks doesn't come back, he's going to have to step up and take over that role as wide receiver number 1. Brevin Jordan, our big tight end, 56 grabs, 730 yards, 8 touchdowns. Another weapon, man. He has really come on as of late. I'm excited for what his future holds. I believe he's got maybe 1 or 2 years left on his deal, and this was by far his best season as far as catches and touchdowns. He's a great safety valve for Stanford, but he can also go out and make the play. I would love to see him work on his blocking a little bit more, but again, I'm excited to see what we have what he can do going into next year. Again, oh well, he just re-upped the deal, so he has 4 years left on his deal. He loves being in Houston. He's a perfect fit for our offense. That's good to know. Will Bush, he had 24 grabs, 239, and 2 touchdowns. Again, this is one of those players that will have to step up just in case Brandon Cooks doesn't come back. I envision Will Bush being our third wide receiver on this team. Trey Graham will definitely be wide receiver number 2, but he'll be playing more in the slot. That means Bush will be on the outside. I really like him. We picked him up, I think it was 2 years ago. Yeah, it was 2 years ago in the draft. 91 speed, 94 catching, great hands, but the route running needs some work. That's going to be the biggest concern for me is how he runs his routes, especially in the intermediate and deep. But I think we can work on that a lot. He has normal development. We can get that back up to star. He's got, like I said, he's got great hands. Last year, I think he had a better season last year. Yeah, he had a step back this year just because of the weapons we have now. 40 grabs, 490, and 4 touchdowns last year. 24 grabs, 239, 2 touchdowns this year. So we have more weapons. Trey Graham comes in, T. Higgins comes in, and that just takes away from his playing time. If Brandon Cooks decides to leave, Will Bush gets moved up. He'll get more playing time, which allows him to be better on the field. Dameon Pierce out of the backfield, 16 grabs, 222, and a touchdown. Emmett Crowder's an interesting player for us. 10 grabs, 209, and a score. Right now we have Emmett slotted as a return specialist, but he had a lot of fumbles this year. A lot of fumbles. The speed is crazy. The acceleration is solid. The catching is okay. Deep route running is amazing. But his carrying is a huge concern. 65 carrying. He fumbled in the Super Bowl. He fumbled all through the playoffs. One almost cost us the game during the regular season. I'm concerned that Emmett might not be that guy. Now, I believe he was a undrafted free agent when we picked him up. Yeah, he was undrafted, and he found his way onto the team because of his speed. Next year, I think we got to find a true return specialist, somebody that can really return kicks and won't fumble when they get hit. Donald Parham played solid for us when Brevin Jordan went down with injuries, 12 grabs, 160, 3 touchdowns. Now let's talk about John Mechie, man. 7 grabs, 90 yards, no touchdowns for the fourth-year wide receiver at this point. I think this might be Mechie's last season in Houston. Coming off a really solid year last year for him after injury, 50 grabs, 656, and 2 touchdowns, 7 catches, 90 yards. He just got lost inside. He just got lost in the mix. With 1 year left on the team, and you can see he's not that interested being on the squad. I think he's going to be we're probably going to look to trade him. Now, I think he can go somewhere else and be a solid wide receiver. But because we have so many talented guys ahead of him, it's just better for us to try to trade him and get a pick. We got Chase Edmonds here, 13 grabs, 57 yards. And then down the line, you got McPhee with 1 catch for 20 yards and Farrell Brown, 1 catch for 10 yards. So like I mentioned before, I'm very proud of this offensive line. Only giving up 27 sacks this year, which is a huge drop from where we were last year and the year before. Deckless gave up 4. Adam Rowe gave up 4. Hitchens gave up 3. Rhoden only gave up 2. And then our ends, our tackles, where we have $40 million locked into these 2 players. Tunsil gave up 1, and Jenkins gave up 1. I am concerned. I think concerned might be too strong of a word. I think I'm a little worried about our right guard, Adam Rowe. At the end of last season, he was a star. Or when we drafted him, he was a star. He had star development. He got hurt and fell down to normal development. And I don't know if you guys know this or not. In Madden, it's hard to get your offensive linemen. I don't even think you can get them back up to like a new development because unless they win an award, which rarely happens, unless they win offensive lineman of the year, that's the only time they win awards. But him not having that star development is impacting his traits. So you guys down in the comment section, let me know, should I give him back his star development or should we just wait and see what happens? I think with the star development, he would be getting a lot more upgrades than what he's getting right now. But solid player. He is the lowest rated offensive lineman that we have as of right now in the starters. All right, to the defensive side of the ball we go. This defense has had a lot of changes, man. But one thing that has stayed consistent is middle linebacker Christian Harris. This dude, man, since day one we got here, we knew that he was going to be a star for us. The numbers have dropped down a little bit over the past 3 seasons, but that's only because we have so many good players on defense now. He had 133 tackles, 12 TFLs, 1 sack, no interceptions. He is the captain of this team, forced 2 fumbles, recovered 2 fumbles. There's not much more we could say about him. This dude is special, and I'm excited for his future here. He's another one of those players, though, at the end of next season, he's going to be looking for big money. Second on the team was Adrian Phillips, the 12th year safety from Texas. We picked him up, I think, after preseason, and he was our box safety, plays sub linebacker, 103 tackles on the year. He was a great pickup, great find for us. Again, he's one of those players I don't believe will be back next season just because of his age. We want to find somebody a little bit younger, somebody a little bit faster, too, that can go into man coverage. But he helped us out and helped us get this ring. Jabril Peppers, 88 tackles this year, 6 TFLs. He had 5 interceptions, and he got his superstar development back. Shout out to him, man. Again, we picked him up 2 years ago from New England, and he's just been playing lights out for us. Last year, 122 tackles, 10 TFLs, and that's because we had him in the box last year. This year, we had him more over the top, playing his position at safety. That's why he got the 5 interceptions. I don't know. I kind of like him playing over the top, but he could be somebody where we put him back in the box. If we could find somebody that can play that deep safety role for us, I think we could move him back down the box. Him and Christian Harris were a dangerous 1-2 punch for us. And Jabril, again, like I mentioned, he's the leader of this team, this defense. Him and Harris are really coming into their own. Here's a look at his ability right now. He's got that short route KO, but he also could get bench press, reach elite. He get flat zone KO, which would definitely help us out a lot, especially with those running backs coming out the backfield. And then he gets deflator too, which that's one of the abilities I really like because it fatigues the ball carrier. And he gets no outsiders, which helps like on those stretch plays, especially against like the Titans and the Colts. Those guys love to run the stretch plays. So I don't know. We'll have to look and see who's going to be a free agency this year. So if we can find a strong safety that can play that deep half for us, we can pick that person up and move Jabril back down into the box. Then we've got Jalen Petrie, third year safety out of Baylor. And again, this guy, man, he's just so consistent for us. He also has superstar X factor. He got that after his first season. Again, numbers are down. Last year was such a breakout year for him, 128 tackles, 5 TFLs, and 4 picks. His rookie year, he had 7 picks. This year, 87 tackles, 2 picks. I felt like he's one of those players where teams start to shy away from him. But we're going to be in a lot of trouble. All these rookies, man, all these guys that are coming off these rookie deals, they're all coming off at the same time. Petrie, Stingley, Harris, Pierce. Those guys are going to be looking for big deals, and they deserve them, man. They're going to deserve them. But I'm excited to see what next year holds for Petrie. I think that he is arguably one of the best safeties in the league right now. And we have to get him. I feel like he can get a lot more touches, a lot more picks, a lot more tackles if we can get him in the right situation. Now let's talk about our corner situation, man. And I think, honestly, this was arguably one of the better pickups that we've had in this franchise. Trayvon Mullen has just blossomed in our defense. 83 tackles this year, 9 interceptions. He had two pick sixes on the year, and now he's up to a superstar X factor. Teams really started to shy away from Trayvon towards the end of the year. The dude was just everywhere, man. He was locking up some of the best wide receivers. Now, there were times where he got toasted, not even going to front, but, I'm excited for this. I'm excited for him. Him and Derek Stingley are a 1-2 punch that a lot of teams are not going to be able to move the ball against us, man. And if you look at the interceptions, 2 versus the Eagles, 1 versus the Titans. He had 1 versus the Vikings. Back-to-back games, the Bears and Chargers, he had 1. 1 versus the Lions, 2 versus the Jags at the end of the year, and in the playoffs, 1 versus the Bills and 1 versus the Rams. I think we have the 2 best corners in the league by far. And Trayvon Mullen is a star. But this kid is a superstar. Let's be real. Derek Stingley is a superstar in this league right now. This was his breakout year. He had 81 tackles, 9 interceptions. And are y'all ready for this? This is the shocker. 6 pick sixes. He had 9 picks and 6 of them were pick sixes. Or he had 6 touchdowns because I think he might have returned a fumble. Yeah, he had 1 recovery for 1 fumble recovery for a touchdown. So 5 out of 9 were pick sixes. This dude, man, I don't care what anybody says. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. At the end of his career, if he keeps playing like this, Derek Stingley would be a Hall of Famer. He won the Best Defensive Back award this year. He led the league in interceptions twice. He got a Pro Bowl appearance. He's lived up to that number 3 pick. But again, big money is coming his way. I'm talking about huge money. And he also has that superstar X factor. Right now we have shutdown on him. We put acrobat on him, but we might put something else on him. He's got deep route KO. I really want him to get pick artist. We got to get his zone coverage up a lot more because his zone coverage is terrible. That's why we play a lot of man coverage because he's only got 75 zone. But if you look, 99 man coverage. 99 man coverage. So we lock up in man coverage. He has acrobat and he has 1 step ahead. But like I said, we could change all this out. We could put deep route KO on him, medium route KO, tip drill, short route, and same for over here. He gets all the same stuff. So, I'm excited for his future. I'm excited that he's gonna be back. But again, we're gonna have to pay this man. We're gonna have to pay this man big money. And I'm thinking we're going to be handing out a lot of big contracts at the end of this year. So that's why I think that we're going to have to move some pieces around because this price is going to be hefty. Jonathan Jones, we picked up during free agency, man, 81 tackles, 3 interceptions. I don't think he'll be back next year. Cortland Davidson came on late at the end of the year. And now that we know he has star development, 94 speed, 6'4", he's going to move into that nickel back for us, and Jonathan Jones now becomes expendable. Jeffrey Simmons, I've said it all season, was the best pickup in free agency for us, in the NFL, period. 51 tackles, 33 TFLs, 21 sacks. He now has superstar development. This dude, man, from day one when he got here, I remember back to the preseason, he made a play, and I was like, that's it. That's it. This dude is a monster, and he's a terror for opposing offensive lines. The 21 sacks, by far the most in the NFL. Best numbers of his career were this year as far as sacks. Tackle-wise, they've taken a step down compared to other years that he was in Tennessee. But he plays all 3 downs for us. He's a hole plugger, and now with the developmental traits that he has, he is going to be hard to stop. Ability wise, he's got double or nothing on him, and he's got secure tackler. The double or nothing, that's going to free him up to do a lot of stuff, man. And I'm excited because we're looking to upgrade our other defensive tackle spot. So if we're able to find somebody who has as equal or close to pass rush as he has, he should have another big year for us next year. Jonathan Grenard had 43 tackles on the year, 12 sacks. He got better at the end of the year as well. I believe he's got superstar X factor now. We've got fearmonger on him. We've got speedster and unpredictable. He's the captain. He's another captain on his defense. Again, he started off slow. Definitely started off slow, but he got going towards the end of the year, halfway through the season. 12 sacks, by far his best numbers as a Texan. 18 TFLs. Again, I feel like our defensive line is where we shine. We have 3 really good defensive linemen, and they're all young. So we're gonna be moving in the right direction. Simmons is the oldest. He's been in the league 6 years. Grenard's been in there 5, and then we've got Tavares Branch down here, his second year out of Miami. We drafted him number 3 overall 2 years ago, and now he's got superstar development. I don't think I knew that. Oh my gosh, yo, this defensive line is crazy right now. What are we gonna put on him? Jeez, that's wow. Okay, we'll go BOGO on him right now. We still got to get another slot for him. But, again, his second year, he really stepped up. 11 and a half sacks this year compared to his rookie year where he only had 7. Him on the one side, you got Simmons up the middle and Grenard on the other side. It's like, come on, man. We should be hanging out with the quarterback every time they drop back. We're really doing a great job, I feel like, in this franchise, developing players, especially on that defensive line. All right, we'll keep going down the line here. Quincy Williams had 27 tackles. Again, I think he's one of those players that probably won't be back next year. Dane Landry, 26 tackles. Would love to see him get on the field a little bit more. He had an interception as well. Cortland Davidson, like I mentioned before, this guy is going to move into the starting lineup next year for us. He'll probably be quarterback number 3 at 6'3", 188. Star development, 94 speed. He's got 83 man coverage, 72 zone coverage. Solid play rec for a first-year player. He'll definitely be quarterback number 3 behind Stingley, Mullen. I think we've got a solid rotation at corner now. Blake Cashman had 23 tackles on the year. Divine Diablo, shout out to him, man. He has really turned his career around. He has become a special teams ace for us, especially on kickoff, forcing a lot of fumbles. And also big shout out to Blake Cashman too, man. He made a lot of great tackles for us, especially on the goal line. We'll go into our 4-4. Blake Cashman comes in at middle linebacker, shoots gaps, makes plays. Deshaun Hand, 15 tackles, 7 TFLs, 3 sacks. We picked him up a couple years ago. Injury prone. He has been injured so much. Again, I think this will be his last year here in Houston. Eric Murray had 10. Blacklock with 10. Nathan Van Buren, I think he might shift over to D-tackle full-time. He's kind of light in the butt, 6'5", 274, built like a defensive end. But I think with his skill set and what he's really good at, he could be a solid D-tackle next to Jeffrey Simmons. And you got O.O., who's been a great pass rusher for us. He comes in, when Grenard or when Branch gets tired. He had 3.5 sacks this year. And then we have the rest of the guys. Paulson with 7, Leonard with 5, Green had 3, Tariq Woolen with 3, and then Owens had 1. Here's a look at our sack totals on the year. Like I mentioned, Simmons 21, Grenard had 12, Branch with 11.5, O.O. had 3.5, Hand with 3, Williams had 1.5, Cashman with 1.5, Van Buren 1.5, and Harris had a sack, and Blacklock had a half a sack. Interception department, we turned that ball over a lot. Mullen 9 picks, Stingley had 9, Peppers with 5, Phillips had 3, Jones had 3, Petrie with 2, so did Davidson, and Landry had 1. Pass breakups, Mullen had 18, Stingley with 13, you had Jones with 11, Jabril had 6, Petrie with 4, and Davidson had 4. We forced a lot of fumbles. Divine Diablo on special teams, 3 forced fumbles. You had Stingley forcing 2, Harris forced 2, Adrian Phillips, Jeffrey Simmons, and Blake Cashman each with 1. We recovered a few. And then defensive touchdowns. I mean, good Lord. Stingley had 6 by himself. Peppers and Mullen each had 2. Then you had Davison, Phillips, and Jonathan Jones with 1. We'll hop into the kicking game. Kai Fairbairn has been very consistent for us. In fact, he was kicker of the year, I think 2 years ago. This year, 27 of 29 on field goals, 88 of 89 on extra points. He had a long of 60. Just a great kicker for us. Strong leg. He'll be around. So will Cameron Johnston, 32 punts for 1,398 yards. He averaged about 42 yards per punt. He had 8 inside the 20 and only 1 touchback, so that's great numbers for him. Return game, it's hard to say that Emmett Crowder, we're going to have to find a way to get Emmett Crowder off of the return team with these kind of numbers, man. 67 returns for 1,622 yards. He did have 2 touchdowns this year, including a 97-yard return, but the fumbles have me concerned. I don't know. Maybe we look to bring somebody in that's undrafted, somebody that will that is known to be a return specialist, and that way that frees him up to be more of a wide receiver, which is a role that I think we can kind of mold him into. Same can be said about the punt game. 49 returns, 408. He did have a touchdown this year. 61 was his longest return. But again, we will be shopping for somebody who is more of a return specialist. So let's look at the bottom at the team rankings. And as you can see, there's a lot of good numbers up there for this team this year. We averaged 43 points per game, which was by far the most, number 1 in the league. Think about where our passing game was at the end of last year. We were probably 31st, 32nd in the league. We moved up to 18, averaging almost 268 yards per game. On the ground, again, the number 1 rushing attack in the league, 177 yards per game. Defensively, we were 32nd last year. We were bad last year. We were the 9th best defense in the league, only giving up 25 points per game. We were 15th best against the pass, 263 yards, but we were number 1 against the run, only giving up 87 yards. Again, it's all about finding those guys who could come in and make that impact. Jeffrey Simmons, Jabril Peppers, Adrian Phillips. The rest of the team was drafted. Or Trayvon Mullen. The rest of the team we drafted. It's all about finding those missing pieces in free agency through the draft and being able to input them and have them develop and become great players, and you could turn your team around just like we did. So let's look back at the season, man. We'll kick things off at preseason where we took on the Cowboys and got absolutely throttled. 31-7 was the final in the preseason. This was, I believe this was the first game for Caleb Stanford at quarterback. I think he only played maybe one series. So, not really counting that. Then we came back, beat the Giants 23-6, and then tied up with the Eagles 3-3. Then we kicked off the season, and, man, the Jaguars gave us the blues. We lost this game 46-27, okay? It was 12-3 at halftime, and then they exploded in the second half for 34 points. We finally got things going in the fourth quarter. We scored 21, but it just wasn't enough. I felt like this was our worst game of the season. We only had 2 losses, and this by far was our worst game. Gave up 385 yards and 3 touchdowns to Trevor Lawrence. Etienne had a touchdown. Braylon White, this kid's a star, right? And he showed it in this game. 11 grabs, 192, and 2 touchdowns. He's going to be a problem for us. We have to see him for the next few seasons because he's in our division. Brandon Cooks had a big game. Christian Kirk had a good game. Trey Graham had a good game. But yeah, this game, man, we had to put this game behind us so quick. And thankfully, we took on the Titans, blew them out the water, beat the Eagles by 3. That was a really good game on Monday night. We beat the Titans again, sweeping them in the series. Beat the Bills by 3, not knowing that we would see them again in the AFC Championship game. And then this was our best game of the season right here against the Colts, 55-0. Complete shutout. I mean, we scored double digits except for in the fourth quarter. We shut this team down. across the board. They had 84 yards of total offense compared to our 460. Caleb Stanford, 4 touchdowns. Josh Rosen threw 2 picks. Damian Pierce, 157 yards, 2 touchdowns. Cooks goes over 100 yards. T. Higgins had a touchdown. Trey Graham had a touchdown. Brevin Jordan had a touchdown. Again, this team, man, I felt like this is when stuff started clicking for us versus the Colts. But then we played the Dolphins, and they got the best of us. And then we went on a win streak. We didn't lose again. We didn't lose at all for the rest of the season. That's how good this team got. After that Dolphins game, we just went berserk on all teams. I was a little concerned after the bye week, especially taking on the Packers and the Bears in a short week. But the team rallied, handled business, and the blowouts. I mean, 63-17, 55-17, 40-9, 31-27 was the closest game against the Lions, and then 56-31 versus the Jags. So now you jump to the playoffs, and it wasn't even close. 62 points versus the Bengals, 59 versus the Bills. After we beat them by 3 earlier in the season, we beat them by 32, and in the Super Bowl, we beat the Rams by 25. So we got better at the end of the season, which is a great look. Because most times teams, when they get to the end of the season, they get tired. They get complacent. Not this team, man. We had a goal in mind, and we got it done. So we do have some upgrades here. Let's get these knocked out. Shout out to Eric Chamberlain. I think we picked him up to be an undrafted player or somebody on the practice team. He gets 2 upgrades, so let's go run stopper for both of them since he's playing D tackle for us. He gets a +2 to block shed and a +2 to play rec. He gets one more. And we'll go back on to run stopper, bumping him up to a 67 overall. Gets a +1 to block shed and a +2 to play rec and a +1 to tackle. 6'5", 309. Solid strength. A developmental player. New superstar defensive end Tavares Branch gets an upgrade. And we're going to go speed rush, man. 88 overall with the morale and the temp boost. Man, +1 across the board. Acceleration, awareness, finesse move, play rec, power move, and tackle. And he gets a new ability slot. Again, superstar development. We'll look and see what else we could put on him. This kid, man, I was concerned. I felt like when we drafted him, he was like the 3rd best defensive lineman in that draft. But now he's starting to come into his own, 11.5 sacks. I'm expecting somewhere between 13 and 14 next year. El Capitan Christian Harris gets an upgrade. And we'll go field general, making him an 89 overall. He gets a +3 to morale and a +1 to temp. He gets a +1 temporary boost as well. +1 acceleration, man coverage, and zone coverage, and a +4 to awareness. And he also gets a new ability slot. I like it. We'll take a look at that here in a little bit. Shout out to Jalen Petrie. He'll get an upgrade right now. Need to figure out where we're going to go with him, man. I feel like we got to go hybrid. He has better man coverage than zone coverage, which makes me think that we could drop him down. We'll go hybrid, making him 86 overall now. He gets a +1 to acceleration, man coverage, press, and zone, and a +2 to tackle. Can you close that door and turn the fan off, please? Thank you. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's starting to come into his own. I like it. Left guard Kenyon Green gets an upgrade. He's going to be another player that's looking for money at the end of next season, y'all. Let's see what he needs. He's got superstar development. Sheesh. He has run block, pass block. We'll go. He needs that finesse, though. Finesse is going to give. Is that agile? Yeah, we'll go agile. He's an 84 still. You get a +1 to pass block finesse, +1 to run block, and a +2 to run block finesse. It's a good look. And what is his ability? What abilities does he have? Unspun. He gets tough nut. Fool me once. Natural talent. Puller Elite and Tear Proof. That Puller Elite might be the move. We'll take a look at that here in a little bit. Where's Josh at? Josh still at star. All right, and then at center, Josh Roten gets an upgrade, and we're going to keep going on power for him. He's up to an 81 overall. He gets a +1 to lead block, pass block power, and a +2 to pass block or run block power. He's one of those guys, man. We've been saying since the beginning he's got to get his power game up. He's been in the gym, up to 83 run block power, 78 run block or pass block power. I want to get that pass block power up to an 80 as well. We're going to start working on his pass blocking next. He's turned out to be a really good player for us. All right, Quincy gets an upgrade. We'll go. I don't know what we're going to do for Quincy here. I love his speed. I love the 87 speed. He's a great tackler. He does not get off of blocks well. Maybe that's what we look to do, get him off of blocks. So we'll go run stopper. And he'll get a +1 acceleration, awareness, +1 to block shed, and a +2 to tackle. All right, we're going to Puller Elite. That's a good look for him because we like to pull, like if we run in our zones and then like our trap plays. King Green is the guy who pulls. And then I think Tavares had the other upgrade. Yeah. So we said Bogo for 1. I think unpredictable. Unpredictable. And what does he get over here? He gets Stonewall, Adrenaline Rush. Pass rushers with this ability will have all their pass rush points restored after second QB. You know what? We'll go Speedster. We'll go Speedster and we'll go Unpredictable for him. Him and Grenard both have Speedster and Unpredictable. I like that. All right, so Christian, we have no outsiders and outmatched. Oh, he gets pick artist. Ooh, okay. I want to go. We're gonna go secure tackler, and then we'll go. I'm gonna go medium route KO for right now because he's gonna be our sub linebacker. Yeah, secure tackler and medium route KO. So let's talk about this upcoming season, man. We've got some decisions that need to be made. We're going into the offseason with just under $48 million in cap space. Brandon Cooks is going to be looking for a big deal. $24 million. He is a free agent, but I don't think we can pay him that. I really don't think we could pay him that $24 million. Especially, like I mentioned, we have so many of our like young stars that are going to be free agents or coming up at the end of their contracts at the end of next season that locking in $24 million into a 32-year-old wide receiver just does not sound like a good idea. Also, Lermy Tunsil. He's in his prime right now at left tackle, 31 years old. We just re-upped him, I think it was last year, but 21 mil, and he's gonna make 22 next year, 24 the following year. I don't know if we can hold on to him next year or this year. I think we have to look to move him. That's gonna free up a lot of money. And then I'm also thinking about trading Jonathan Jones. He is due to make $9 million or $8 million in this upcoming season. And like I mentioned, Cortland Davidson is a player that I'm excited to get onto the field. So I'm not sure that we hold on to him. I have been kind of like looking around to see who needs a solid corner. There's a couple teams that should be interested in him. So I think we might have to ship him out. And then, like I mentioned before, Deshaun Hand, this will be his last year here. We will not be re-signing him. And I think we've got to let go of Quincy Williams. I'm trying to think who was the other player. I think that's it. Cooks, I'm glad we were able to get him a ring. He deserved it. He's been with this team through the ups and the downs. And, we are very appreciative of what he did with the team, but it's just going to be hard to imagine re-signing him for that much money. Lermy Tunsil, I think we can trade him. I would love to have a left tackle that has experience. at the position. If we're not able to find one, I think we can move Elgin Jenkins over to left tackle. He's got 91 pass block. He's got great finesse. Strength is good. Run block is solid. We could move him to left tackle and then go find a right tackle. I believe there's going to be a right tackle in free agency this year. But that's what I'm thinking as far as re-signing and movement goes for our team. I don't want to go crazy in free agency. I do think that we need to find a shiftier back. Julius Temple will move up to running back number 2. So maybe like a young running back with like 95 speed, something like that. Wide receivers with Cooks probably not coming back. That means Higgins moves up, Graham moves up. We're going to trade Mechie, and Will Bush moves up. So maybe we draft a wide receiver instead of spending money in free agency. We got to find a left tackle. Or right tackle, actually. We can move Jenkins over to left tackle, so it means we got to find a right tackle. Defensive line, I think we're straight, except for D tackle. We need to find another D tackle to go next to Simmons. Maybe the answer is already on the roster and Van Buren. We'll have to look and see what happens when we move him over there. Linebacking room, I think we're okay. I would love to see Paulson get on the field if Quincy Williams doesn't come back. And then corners, we're good. Jones will be shipped out. Davidson moves up. Free safety, strong safety. We're probably going to look for another coverage safety here. That way we can move Jabril Peppers back inside the box. Yeah. So that's what I'm thinking, man. That's where I'm looking at as far as like free agency goes. Team-wise, what we're looking at. Let's take a look at the big board for our draft. I mean, our biggest – so what we've been looking at is offensive line, linebackers, and defensive defensive linemen that we can move to like defensive tackle. That's been our main focus through this whole process. I did find an offensive lineman that I'm excited about, Jermaine McGee from Stanford, 6'6", 305. He has second and third round talent, but he's got A, awareness, A, impact block, A, pass block, and B, run block. Then you've got Brian Scott from Missouri. He's projected to go second or third round. He's got A, awareness, A, impact block, A, pass block, B, run block. At left tackle, here's Jonathan Sherrills. A, awareness, C, impact block, A, pass block, B, run block. He's got first or second round talent. Pete Ross, projected to go first round. Not that much better than the other guys. So I think we go with the other guys, especially with our late round pick. Here's a linebacker that I thought was going to be solid, man. Jacob Rogan from LSU, 5'11", 228. A, zone coverage, A, tackle, A, pursuit. If we don't want to move Paulson up, we can move Rogan to that spot. He's projected to go third or fourth round. If we decide to move Jenkins over to the left side, here's a right tackle and Kyle Lewis from Oklahoma, 6'4", 315. A, impact block. He's got B, pass block, and B, run block. Up the middle at D tackle, I found a couple guys that we could probably shift over to that spot. George Calhoun from Notre Dame, 6'3", 307. He's got B, block shed, B, finesse move. You got Johnny Harper from Penn State, 6'2", 295, B, block shed, B, power move. So as of right now, the best D tackle on the board is Von McCullum from Louisville, 6'2", 313. He's projected to go first, second round. And you guys can't see it, but he has C, block shed, B, finesse, B, power, and B, tackle. Again, we picked 32nd in the draft this year, so if he is still on the board, I would love to get him. George Calhoun is somebody else that I'm interested in. I like the high block shed for him and the finesse move. He's a big boy too, 6'3", 307. Would be interested to see what his combine is going to look like. He's got great to elite strength, solid to good speed, good to great acceleration. So that gives me hope that he's going to be a solid player. He's got A, play rec too. Calhoun might be somebody we look at, in that late first round target range for us. Loves to utilize a spin move as a counter move, has a swim arm over move. He can utilize his power and leverage to bull through pass protectors. Okay, has a motor that runs through the whistle, often looks to rip the ball from runners, lacks the discipline resulting in avoidable penalties. Okay. So, I mean, there's a couple guys here, especially on the defensive line that we're looking at. Strong safety. There's TJ McClellan from Marshall, 6'2", 221. B hit power, B to D man coverage, B to D tackle, C zone coverage. And then Manny Amaro from East Carolina, 6'3", 220. Projected to go third round. He's got A hit power, D man coverage, but I'm hoping that his zone and his tackling are a little bit better. So guys, that's a look back at season 3. Like I mentioned, man, it's been a great run for these Texans, and now this is where the fun begins for this franchise. We've got some decisions to make about some really good players that help this team out, and then we've got to get our mindset on season 5 with all of our star players coming up for contracts. I'm gonna be interested. It's gonna be an interesting season for us. The offseason will be next, so get ready for that. It'll be split up into 2 different videos. You'll have the re-signing period, the combine, and the free agency in part 1, and then in part 2 we'll do the NFL draft and get ready for the preseason. So make sure you guys keep it locked. If you are brand new, make sure you smash that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you're brand new. Don't forget to ring that bell, join the Noti Squad, and check out all those links down in my description, man. I've got a Facebook, a Twitter, Instagram, a TikTok, and you can come through and join the Discord, fam. I'm excited for season 4, man. We're looking to go back to back. It's going to be a lot harder this year than what normally will happen, man, but this team is set to make a run for the next few seasons, man. Have a great day, guys. 2 fingers in the air. Peace. Big shout out to all the members that support this channel. If you would like to become a member, check out the link down below.